Hello there, welcome again. Welcome back to Technology Innovation Hub channel. So let's continue to resolve our guest solutions error. So let me share my screen, right? So we were having this issue during the installation of guest edition, right? So this was the issue, right? So what it says, kernel headers not found, right? For kernel header not found for target kernel and 41435, right? So that is the kernel that I have selected. I think everybody knows at the time of starting Linux, you can select the kernel, but anyway, by default, as soon as we install 7.9, it goes for the UAK kernel, Universal Enterprise Kernel. Because there's a normal kernel also, but default it selects this kernel. So once you select this kernel and boot the OS, so then only you can see, I mean, with the uname -r command, you can check that. Let me show you, right? Very easily, you can go for uname -r, right? If you try uname -r, and you can see that I have a document as well. Right? In my document, this is there. Right? Let me go back. Yeah. You can see uname -r command on the root, you see this kernel. So what it says, for this particular kernel, there are no kernel headers. So check the kernel sources and yeah. So resolving the kernel header issue. So that is what it says. For that particular kernel, there are no kernel headers. Kernel headers means you need to have a kernel devel file, that is kernel sources and the kernel headers both, right? So it is missing. So that's why it's failing. So let's try them to install and resolve this one, right? That is, in the document, I have guide, given the full guide. Because if you check Google this one, I mean, a lot of resources have put a lot of solutions, right? In different way, that way they say, okay, it's fine, you can go to them and sort it out. And I mean, whatever it will fix out. But I feel like it's better to understand what's happening behind and get an idea. And I mean, without just typing the Linux command, just get to know what, if you type this command, what is happening behind, right? With an understanding, if you can resolve the error, I mean, it is better, right? That's why I just thought of giving some explanation on this guest addition resolution. Otherwise, anyone will be able to work on the internet and get this one resolved, but it might take time, right? But if you know what is happening, this is just 10 minutes work. 10 minutes work, you can just resolve it, right? Okay. So the first thing is you need to see the current kernel, what is running, right? The current kernel as per your selection at the time of boot. By default, it selects in 7.9, it always selects this. This is the current kernel. Uname -r, you can check that, right? Then check the kernel sources, kernel devel, which contains the source files, which requires to compile the kernel code. Yeah. Now, this kernel is there. This is what you have selected, right? And you have to make sure for this particular kernel, the source is there. Source means the kernel source, so the kernel devel. Kernel devel is there. I'll be uploading this document. No worries, you can go refer later. In GitHub, you will have this file, right? So to check that kernel devel, you can run this source, right? You check the source with the ls command, use the source kernels. Now, what do you see as the output? Something different, right? What I have selected is 4.1, but what you see, the source is 3.1. So this is the default kernel for non-UK, right? Now this is the Universal Enterprise kernel, which comes with default installation in 7.9, right? Without yum update, right? Original installation. Before typing yum update, that is what's coming, built-in. Built-in UK kernel, UAK kernel, Universal Enterprise kernel, and the non-UAK kernel. Both are there, right? But for this one, you have the headers and the kernel both are there, right? But since I haven't selected this one at the time of boot, it shows here is a different one. But if you select this one, then it will show appear here as well as here, right? Because it is fine. So if you go ahead with guest addition configuration with this, it might complete without error, right? But the problem is for database, we don't go with non-UEK, right? We don't go with non-UEK, right? Non-universal enterprise kernel, because UEK kernel universal enterprise kernel is well tuned for database optimized kernel, right? So that's why we are trying to configure the additions using that universal enterprise kernel. All right. So now it is missing now. So the devel files are missing. So what you can do, as you can see, the current devel means for this file, the UEK devel is missing, right? So then we can just check the list available kernel devels at the moment, yum list kernel devel, and you can see for this particular OS, we have kernel devel x86 is there, and this one is already installed. Okay, so we can go ahead with this. We can try to install it because it is available now, right? As but the problem, yeah, you don't have the UEK one. You can see as visible above, UEK kernel is missing, which is required. Yeah. So anyway, this one, it is checking the current available kernel devils, right? So currently even this one is available, right? But it's not a UEK one. This is a normal one, right? So therefore, it doesn't suit the universal enterprise kernel, right? So we need the UEK devel, right? So to install that, you can try this command, install UEK devel, yum install kernel UEK, right? So I'm telling kernel UEK, not this, right? Not just kernel devel, kernel UEK devel x86, kernel UEK devel x86. So then it will start installing that particular version, right? So as you can see, it is continuing with that package, okay, x86, right, 41430, that's continuing. But if you look at closely, it is taking something called 20479 and 503, right? Just take a closer look. What we have at the moment is something called, you go up and see, 414351982, right? That is what we have, the current kernel. But it's installing now. When I ask him to do it, that is what is available in the yum. That is what is available in the repository. An updated one. It's an updated one, but it's not supporting this one, right? This is the old one. This is the updated one, right? So it will install this 2047 instead of this. Anyway, nothing to do. That is what is available, right? So I mean, we can go to the yum archive and check, but no point. Let's install what is available, and if you continue, it will continue to install that one, and it will do it complete. And after, again, if you check now, once the installation is done, I'm going back and checking the existing kernel is this is what I, at the time of boot, what I have selected. Now if you check the ls command and check the sources, now you will see 414 what is installed 503. That is the one we just installed now, 503. But what the kernel needs is this, but what is the source installed is this. So still, if you try to start the guess addition, still it gives the error because it doesn't match. We need the exact match because for the kernel, the relevant source, the relevant devel file, right, and the header, right? So, and further, for safety, yeah, I have given for safety apply this one as well, because we can kernel headers, but it is not a must. We can try that in case of compilation required Perl and the GCC and the make packages, right? C, because these kernels are written in C, no, right? So compiler for C, right? So that is, and make, you can keep it, no problem. You can try that, and after that you can give a reboot. Once you do these things, just give a reboot, right? So then what you can do now, go and do a yum update. That is, this is the easiest way I am telling. You may do different workarounds and fix, but this is the easiest way, because anyway, you better do a yum update, right? Because as soon as you install 7, it is 7.7 now we install. You may remember we started the installation 7.7, so it should go to 7.9 all the way and updating rest of the packages. So it's better to do a yum update, but now do a yum update. Don't try to do a yum update initial stage. Now do a yum update after correcting this guest edition kernels, right? It's still not correct, but we have something latest, right? Now if you do a yum update, if you notice during the yum update, it's going to update 1001 on 7 packages. During the YUM update, you will see installing kernel 414503, right? Which is the source, right? Earlier source, now the devil already we have installed. So now what the YUM update does, it is taking the relevant kernel for us. Whereas our current kernel is this, no, a pretty old one. So it is installing the matching kernel for this source, which is a perfect thing we need for guess addition. Okay, guess addition succeed. And if you watch further, not only doing that, at the end of everything, and then you see the cleanup and things going on. At the end of the cleanup, you will notice this line happening. Virtual guest addition built in the kernel. It's automatically builds there. We don't need to do anything, right? Finally, it automatically builds for us the module successfully. So this is the easiest part. So for I mean, it's just the time it takes to YUM update, but anyway, YUM update you have to do with this old OS, right? We are going to 8 now, so this is 7.1. So I mentioned we'll be going for the 8 later. So initially we started the old operating system, right? All right. So do a reboot then, right? Once it's done, you can do a reboot. Then everything will be fine. So you will have the environment updated, right? With the guest editions up and running, right? So nicely, you will have a full screen like this, right? You can log in as root and you get the full screen like this. So, and everything is possible. So once the guest edition is done, right? Now you can see that if you try uname -r, you can see that updated kernel is available here, right? Updated kernel is available here. And if you want further, you can check that ls command as well, right? This command, right? It is show the same, yes. You can have, you have all the things. 3 is there and 415, 503. So it's updated, everything is fine now, right? Okay, right? So that will resolve the guest edition issue. So you can do the same way, it will resolve it for you. If there are any issues, just put in the comment section, right? So it will resolve it. Okay, so once it's done, we can go to our next step, because why we did the guest editions just to have this full screen, and there are a lot of other additional things, and especially to have data sharing between host OS and the guest OS, right? So because we might need some files, sometimes our installation files may be at the host operating, so we need to copy this, right? So now let's go and create a share. So very easily you can go, if you go to devices, right, and I can just have a shared folder and shared folder settings. So very easily I can just go and create a share, add. Okay, I am going to select my host OS folder here by looking at other, and okay, let me share one of my location which I'm usually using, right? I think this is the folder, so let me share that. My installation files are there, and you can say auto mount and make it permanent. Don't say read only. If you say read only, you won't be able to update it. And no need to give mount, it will automatically take the same direct, same path, fine, right? And once you say okay, right, you should see that mount creating on your desktop. No need to reboot, automatically creates. If you double click here, it will open your host file system. Now I am in Windows. This is my Windows directory. ORSW is a Windows directory. Okay. So if you want to go to host operating system, let's close this, right? Host operating system. So this is my Windows 10 box, and if you go here, now you can see ORSW. This is the folder. So it creates sharing to guest OS, right? So it is facilitated via guest edition. There are different ways to share, but for a beginner, sharing with guest edition is the easiest, right? You can create Samba servers and FTP, and there are a lot of other ways, right? And there are other GUIs as well, but this is the easiest way, right? Okay, so since we have done that, let's proceed to next step. So what is our next step? We need to install the Oracle 12.2 database now. Install Oracle 20.2. Again, the reference is there, right? So you can see the reference. Earlier, I saw the reference for Linux installation as well. But now again, for the database installation also, you will have a nice explanatory documentation, right? So let's go there. Yeah, this is for the Linux one. Let's go for the database, right? Okay, so this is what? This is what installing Oracle 12.2 installation guide for Linux for database 12.2, right? So very comprehensive. Just go through it, right? I'm going to work through this one, I'm not going to go through the entire thing, but if you have any doubts, you can refer to this. Very big details are there, right? So install in 12.2, right? So I have given the link there. So let me proceed to the installation, right? So the use the below Oracle pre-installation RPM. Yeah. So actually before doing anything, we need to have the software downloaded as well. No? I think create a group and yeah, let's go to this software download, installing Oracle database. I think I gave the location for software download. Yeah, this is what. Yeah, because now 12.2 is not available. Okay, I come back to this one. But initially, let's do this prerequisite setup, right? As per the guide, we'll go with the guide, right? It is explained in the below how to get the software and not, right? So initially, let's complete this prerequirements, right? So there are prerequisites for Oracle database 12.2 installation. So the very first thing is yum install Oracle database server 12.2 pre-install. Now this is automated setup, right? Use the below Oracle pre-installation RPM that will do automatic RPM installation and configuration. And it will create the role allocator groups and users with identical names and ID number, because Oracle has some for database we need some inbuilt type packages, right? So there are kernel packages, some modification need just for the OS, right? And it creates users, it creates groups, right? So these things can be automated using this pre-install package. If somebody interested, can do manually as well. Can do manually and face all the issues and install the RPM by RPM and waste the time. So therefore, we don't recommend to go ahead with the manual method. So it is always recommended to go with pre-installer, which is easy for us, right? From 11.2 or not, this is there, right? So 11.12 is there. So let's copy this one as root. So I'm going to yeah, let's go here. So I'm as root running this yum install, and let's run this. Let's say yes, not a big one, a small one, right? Size. Let it complete. So once it complete, so we can then check these users, right? Because this is going to create users automatically. You can check the Oracle user, right? because we are going to manage Oracle software using a different user called Oracle, that is role based, right? So because Oracle softwares are managed by different users, right? For example, database software is managed by a user called Oracle. Grid for active installation, it is managed by a user called Grid, right? So likewise, this is known as a role-based separation, right? Each software plays a different role in the disk, right? So we know the Oracle flexible architecture, which will manage the softwares in the disk, how the things can be installed, Oracle Home and Oracle. I mean, we have the Oracle Base, Oracle Home. Those concepts we learn later, right? So anyway, so to manage this particular software, we have Oracle database software. We have a separate user called Oracle, right? For rack and then grid, we have user called grid, right? So this user will get automatically created. So we can check whether it is being created. We can just run the cat command, cat acc password. You can see it's automatically get created with that pre-installer. Okay, that is done, and we can again similarly we can check the groups as well, right? etc group. Again, you can see these groups are automatically created. Install, DBA group, operator group, backup. These are new and something new in 12, right? DG for data guard DBA and memory and rack likewise. Okay, so those groups also automatically get created. So very easy to use this pre-installer, right? This package. Right? Okay, so that is done. Then enter the host name. Yeah. So it's better to give a proper host name in, right? So, and first thing we need to get the IP as well, right? Let's check the IP. What is the IP here? So we have this VM 10.0.2.15, right? So let's go to VI etc hosts. And so let's put those entries, right? So IP is 10.2.0.15, right? And my machine name is localhost dot pool qualified domain name is localhost dot local domain, and only the machine name is going to be localhost. So that's the entry I have put, localhost dot local domain 10.15. Okay, very good, right? So I check host name. My host name is that localhost dot local domain. Correct, right? So we updated etc host file. That's fine. So then etc host name, we are etc host name. Yeah, we can check whether etc host name also having the same thing. Should be, because at the installation you may remember we put those things. etc. Yeah, localhost dot local domain. Fine. We have the same. Yeah. Okay. Good up to now. So set the SQL Linux, yeah, AC Linux. So we can disable AC Linux. That's fine. So Oracle installation, we will disable that one. Disable mean not disabling. We are setting it to permissive, right? So we can go for VI etc. Let's copy that, right? etc AC Linux. So what we will do, we will change this one to AC Linux type. We will go and change it to permissive. Permissive, right? Oops, I think a mistake there, right? So AC Linux, not the type, right? So what's that? Let's check. AC Linux is targeted. Yeah. So we need to have this one, right? Linux is going to be permissive. So no change to that. So yeah, okay. Yes, this one has to be permissive, right? Permissi, correct. Now it's okay. I think, yeah, it's enough permissive. So this leave it targeted. Process and protected. That's fine. We are not going to change the type. There's Linux on permissive, right? Okay, thank you, done. Right, so as the document, as the guide is telling properly, Linux permissive, right? Okay. So we just to make it confirm, we can just type set enforce, right? Set enforce permission. We're done, right? And yeah, the firewall and all, you can stop it. So I don't think in this box. Yeah, these are best practices I'm just following. Stop, disable firewall. If you want more detailed documentation, right? This is just list of the firewall and all if it is available, right? So IP tables and all, right? Create directories. Yeah, we need the directories, right? So we know Oracle installation to manage the Oracle installation. So we need to have the home directory and the base directory. So that is why we are creating make directory -p one app Oracle product, which is our home. 12.2 home, right? And giving the ownership for Oracle user and the group is on install and for the base directory, and we are changing the permission. All right, so we can right away do this. Okay, so we are done there, right? And scripts, yeah, so better do this one because this is another best practice to create the bash script, right? So we have the dot profile, right? Bash profile, right? Dot profile, for Linux or Oracle, we are creating the bash profile, right? So to do that, we just follow this method, make directory, home, Oracle, scripts, right? So we can create that. Yeah, so as root, we can do no problem. And right away use this technique. So just copying and pasting. I don't think I'll explain what are the contents. So this is a shorter method. You can just cat and create the file right away. Set environment sh file, right? That will be created. And yeah, other reference. So echo scripts environment dot bash, right? So you know what I'm doing, right? So set in normal settings. So all the settings are there. Go and check this one, right? And I'm redirecting a link to bash profile, right? So this file I'm putting to bash profile, right? So that when the bash profile is invoked, so the file content will be executed. The dot environment.sh, right? So if we check now what we have done, set tnhoracle.sh, right? So if you go here, now what we did, we went to home Oracle, and there's a directory called scripts, right? So this is what we did just now. And if you go to ls, you can see the set tne file. So under set tne file, we have these settings. We have Oracle settings, right? Export directory and all, and our home. So Oracle host name is local domain, that's fine. And database unique name, we create ORCL, database for ORCL, that's acceptable. And Oracle base, we'll learn what is Oracle base and home in detail later, right? So we have Oracle base and we have Oracle home, right? 1221, and that is the product name, and binaries will be here, and Oracle SID is this ORCL, and this is for the execution SQL and the path, right? Okay, we are good, right? That's done. So, and if you take a look at the home bash profile, right? Dot bash profile. Go here. now our bash file. So bash. So this is the bash file. So bash file, right under bash file, we don't have the settings. So we are calling export path set tnht file. This is what we did from the last line earlier. Right? So we redirect the content of the set ene.sh file to the bash file. So the set tne file having those content which I just showed earlier. Okay, so it's not a big issue. Right? It's an easy way to handle bash file. Right? Okay, now we are done with the prerequisites. We are okay with the prerequisites. Now we come to the installing, software download. So what it says, Oracle database grid infrastructure and software is available multiple media. Different places we can download. Software available, installation media, download. Yeah, that's true. You can read and see this one. Database files, automatic, yeah, just read it, right? This is for your reference I have given. Now, if you want to download, try to download from this, right? So let's see what is happening. You can visit here right away. Yeah, you can visit from host directory or whatever. We go for the host OS and go there. So I'm just going. Copying is not enabled between the two OSs. There you go here. Better. Okay, so if you go here, you can see software downloads, but what is the latest? 19C. So can you see 12.2 here? If you go down, you not find 20.3. After that, they have 21C. So at the bottom, there's a line telling previous database release software. Oracle Enterprise Edition 10 to 11 12 18C are available on FTP and blah blah blah. So you won't be able to download from here. You have to go to this my support and you go to the guide and follow up and likewise sending a request and opening a ticket. But there's another place. No need to go to all of those things. There's another place to download 12.2. I think I have given here. You can go for software, database software delivery, e-delivery, right? Oracle software delivery cloud, right? So you can go here and from here you'll be able to download. Right? Now you can see 12.2 is like outdated as for Oracle, right? Yeah, it is old now. It's more than 7 years old, right? So now we are in 21C, 18C, 19C, all are there. 18C is somebody equal to 12.2, right? 12.2 is 18. Yeah, let me log into this place. This is a pre-login. Huh? Don't talk about that. So yes. Software delivery cloud and yeah, we are going for the delivery. So you are familiar with this, where you got the Oracle Enterprise Linux software, same place, no? So you can just type database, so you can download it from here. And so you can see database tools is available there. So pretty easily you can download from here. Right? So you can get the relevant version. Even 11 is there, right? If you feel that it will come, but you can go down if you have. Right? We need 12.2 here. We have 12 to edition to 12.201. That's the version we are installing. Right? So we can continue. So these are the things, but no need to get the whole thing, right? Whole thing comes to around 13 GB. Okay, no need to have this. I mean, standard edition, no, untick those, and you can have database, this one only, 12.201 database, right? Select the platform, you need the Linux one, Linux 64-bit, right? That is the platform. Linux x86 64. Select the correct platform, so that is the must. So that comes to 3.2 GB, a one file. This download is one file, not like 11G and 12.1. No, there's only one file for 12.2 base version, 12.201. It is not 12.202 we are installing. We can patch it up later. We are installing 12.201 version. right? So you can download, and right, I have the things downloaded, so I'll go back, right? I have it downloaded here. Let's check. This is the download. Once you do that, you can see Linux 64.12.201, size is 3.2. This is the download, right? So that's the download. And now what I'm going to do, now we are going to install on Linux now, so we need to copy this one, right? So that is where the sharing is becoming important now. So very easily I can go to my folder. So I can copy this one, Oracle 12.2, Linux 64.12.2.1, this is the one, right? Copy. Yeah, that's the correct one, 12.2.0.1. Yeah, I'm going to copy to, let's copy to Oracle home folder, Oracle users. Follow that same practice. Put it under Oracle because we are going to, Oracle is going to manage now. So under Oracle, just paste it under Oracle user. Let it copy that. Copying, right? You can see here, it is copying. And once it copied, you need to change the permission, right? So either from OS 12 or from graphical, you can change the permission. Because you need to run. Now I have logged in as root. So in my machine, I am as root user, right? So therefore, it comes under root permission. So therefore, we need to change the permission. Let it finish copying. Right? So finish copying might take 1 minute, right? And so once the copying is done, yeah, yeah, we can start the installation. So there's another small thing to do, the exhaust setting, X11, right? How to manage that export display and all. So some people are messing up here as well. So I'll give you the correct method, right? Very easy. If you know it, how to do it is very easy, no messes, right? And okay, let's do it once the copy. Now we can do it while it's copying, right? So what you can do, I have given the explanation. So unzip 12.2, unzip it to the Oracle users home folder, enable X11, that is a display, right, to get the GUI, right? So X Windows system, get the GUI. So you need to, first thing is we need to enable the client, right? So, and to log into the X11 server, we are going to log in as a client because we are going to open external call using Oracle software. It triggers a GUI. So that GUI takes as a client for the X11 server, right? So first thing we need to enable a client like this. We need to exhaust plus. You can see the message access control disabled. Clients can connect. So exhaust plus means we are asking any client can connect now. We are disabling the control. We are allowing any client to be connected to the X11 server system, right? So once you do that, what you can do, you can switch to Oracle. We have Oracle, you know, right? Oracle user is there. SU Oracle, right? So now once you switch to Oracle, we need to export the display terminal, export display, the first display and the first terminal. 0 means the default display and the first terminal. That's what the 000 means, right? So normally we can give the host name, colon, and likewise, but here we have omitted the host name. So it's assume the default machine where I have connected. So that's why after the colon, 0, the first display and the first terminal. That's what 0.0 means, right? So export display and likewise. So let's copy this one. Okay, so now you can run the run installer, but let's check whether this one is finished. Oh, yeah, it has copied, right? So once it copied, see what you can do. Open it, archive manager, we unzip it, right? We had unzip it, right? Extract. I'm doing everything graphically. Anyone can do the unzip command. It's fine, right? So that's okay. Yeah, we'll extract it here. Yeah, click extract. Now extracting, right? Either use commands or whatever, doesn't matter. These are small things, so that's why I'm just clicking and doing. Let's let the unzip to complete. Yes, so let it complete. So after that, what we can do, we can change to that particular. It creates one folder called database, so we can change it to that, and we can just call the installer /run installer, since we have set the exhaust and we have enabled GUI to pop up, right? So let it unzip. Yeah, 104 files remain. Okay, so it might take 2 seconds, right? So after that, it's just a matter of walking through the installer. Windows installation, it will ask below script. Yeah, it will ask the script because ORAINS root sh and the root sh. And you can automate this one in 12.2, right? That's the new feature in 12.2. Oh, but 12.21 didn't give that. 12.22 gave that feature. Yeah, right. Okay, so OEM, Oracle Enterprise Manager, we have a big issue there because Flash is no longer supporting now. Flash is discontinued. So it's all about JavaScript. So you won't be able to start the 12.2 Oracle Enterprise Manager console. Rather, we go for cloud control. Right. So I'll come back and explain what's the situation there. Right. So yeah, extraction completed successfully. Close. So we are done there. So things are extracted. 3.9 GB. So let it close properly. Right. And you can go here and this is the folder, right? Okay, so it's done now. So we can go to properties. I told you it is on the root, right? We change the permission, right? Okay, so permission, as I said, it's on the root. So group has to be o install. Group is going to be o install. The user has to be Oracle. Owner has to be Oracle, right? And we'll apply for all subfolders. Change permission. Change, right? Okay, we are done, right? So now we are on the Oracle. So if you go to where are we now? We check we are on Oracle. Yes, so we should have that one. ls lr. So you can see the ownership has been changed, right? Oracle launch store. So we are good to go for database, right? cd database. So and if you check, we have the run installer. So if you want, you can do /run installer. So without any issues, it will trigger the graphical interface because we have correctly export the exhaust and GUI. Right? So to trigger it nicely like that. Now you get the window Oracle Universal Installer OUI will pop up, right? 12C universal installer, right? So let's walk through and finish up the installation for 12C. Not to give emails, just you can say yes and create and configure database. So that is what we are going to do. We are going to create and configure, install everything, and we say next. We're going to use server. We need to have database, and you're going to have Oracle single instance. No rack this time. Later we will do those advanced, no typical advanced installation, right? And yes, we are going to go enterprise edition, right? And this is the base, this is the home as per our environment settings in the bash profile. These are all are good, automatically takes that, right? So next. And this is the inventory file and the inventory owner or install, that is okay, right? And general purpose database we are going. And let it be ORCL, we are going non-multi-tenancy for the time. We are not going to have a multi-tenant database this time. Multi-tenancy we will learn more detail later, right? So this is the very first one we are doing a normal database, ORCL. It's okay, let it be ORCL, Oracle Corporation Limited, the very first practical, right? And it's better to put the sample schemas for us to do some practicals. So enable that one. Memory leave it default, no changes for those, right? This is the place the data files are, let it default, no problem. So we are not going to do any changes for those, right? And again, no point enabling EM because we don't have a cloud control at the moment. So let's do those things later, cloud control. And enable recovery. Yeah, we can enable it. So no problem. Enable the fast recovery area for the time being, right? It's good for us to do some practicals, right? So, and password, give a common password. Yeah, these groups, you saw this automatically creates by default. DBA, OSOP, and all, let it be. It's automatically selects since the groups are available. Right. So, and it go on and check in. The prerequisite will check and it will give us any warning is there. Oh, okay, the stop warning. Yeah, this is the warning which is ignorable. What it says is it required expected 10 GB and what is having is 5 GB. This is, you may remember, we did automatic partitioning. By creating the operating system, we did automatic partitioning. So on automatic partitioning, it creates only 5 GB of self. But as far as in the learning environment, it is okay, it is ignorable. But in the production environment, I think I mentioned while we are installing OS as well. So you better do a custom partitioning, custom disk partitioning and enable 10 GB of SAP, right? For production systems. For 12.2, 11G, it will satisfy 5 GB. But for 12, you need anything about 8. So 10 GB is better, right? We can do it later, no problem. We can create a sub and mount it later. But for the time being, let's ignore it and go. That's okay, right? Next. Yes. And we are good. We can revise anything you want, right? And no need to save response file and we click install. Okay, so it will continue the installation. So this might take 20 minutes roughly to complete the installation. I think less than 20 minutes because 12.2 is going faster. Within 10 minutes should be finished, right? And in the mid, it will ask us to run the scripts. So the two scripts I mentioned here in the middle of the installation, it will ask us to run the below scripts as root. So in order you need to run it, will give us the script. So just open a terminal as root and you need to run that, right? So let that one to continue, right? It will prompt up the script, so let it prompt. So in the meantime, let me explain this Oracle Enterprise Manager, OEM. So I have given you the explanation because the reason is, now you may remember for 10G 9 we had the Oracle OEM, right? Oracle Enterprise Manager, a Java-based, that was not a console, a Java-based graphical user interface. So there was there to browse the database and check the content, right? Then for that in 10G for the Oracle first time they they introduced the web console. You can remember web console, right? 10G console. The 11G continued the same web console. Nice GUI they gave. And 11G they introduced grid as well. 10G also we had the grid, right? So and after that, what happens in 12 and yeah, 12 also they continue. Then 13 they introduce something called cloud control, right? But now what has happened, this 11, 12, those things were based on Flash. The console was based on Flash. Now you all know Flash is discontinued, right? Flash has been discontinued. So therefore, now this OEM, we won't be able to start if you are doing it newly, right? Right? You won't be, because we can't, it depends on Flash, and now we can't get Flash because it's almost discontinued by Adobe. So what Oracle says also, to go for update existing ones or install, we can't, no, nothing called update, install 13C cloud control. So that's what they are telling in this explanation. That's what they are telling. It will be necessary to install or upgrade to cloud control OEM 13C, right? Cloud control, which is a very nice graphical interface. Centralized control. You can add even the pre-releases, 11G, 12C releases, and both 13C centralized control. You can manage worldwide databases, no issues, right? So this is based on JavaScript in language, right? It is not based on Flash, right? So therefore, you can get this one installed OEM, but this is a separate installation, separate download. We will do it later, right? So therefore, for the time being, you won't be able to get OEM, Oracle Enterprise Manager Console, because of this Flash issue. Okay, right. So let it complete, and in a while it will ask to run that set files, so we can execute once this prompt. We have to wait, right? So let's wait till it prompts. So after that, we can complete the installation of 12C, right? Let me stop share a while, right? All right, let me share the screen again. Yeah, it's almost now 65% done. Right? Now I should found the SH file for me to run as root. So let's have a uh, root window here open, because I need another window to run the scripts, right? You can take the details if you want, right? The log file, what's happened. So currently it's saving the inventory, right? You can see it. It has copied the file, and all the binaries have been copied. Path has been set, and those things are done. So now we are in starting prepare configuration step starting. So that is the activity now it is doing, right? Prepare for configuration steps, right? So yeah, these are two steps I mentioned. So what you can do, just simply copy this, right? So you have run it in order, right? And go here and paste, and just press enter and take the other one and just press enter. Don't worry about what is from, just press enter. Just press enter and let it complete. Oracle environment file and DB home and those things, we'll learn those things later. Right? We'll leave it for time. For our tab file, we have the home directory and the installations listed, right? Okay, so we are done there and we can click OK, right? So now it will start creating the database. Almost 82% done. Database creation in progress, right? So it runs the netCA to create the services and node. When now it's creating the database. In the meantime, if you want, you can further just switch to Oracle till it completes. And you can go into the folders, right? 0.1 app Oracle, right? So here itself we have the subfolders. You can see it's almost created, and you can check the ORData folder. Right? ORData folder will have ORCL, that is the database name that we gave. At the moment on the system DBS file, because it's now creating the file, right? Okay. So if you go back and check further the other files which are as created, and if you want to check the products folder, go there. LS our 12 tools there, and DB home one. All the binaries you see here. Especially the bin and network admin, DBMS, all the things are there. Right? And further, if you go back again, if you want to see the alert, you can go for DIG folder, diagnostic, and you can go to RDBMS. Let's check in, go to trade ORCL. Again, I will have, or this is the default way of putting, and you can go for trace. And in that, you'll have the alert file. So if I say tail -f al tab al alert underscore RCL. So that's the naming convention for alert file. I'll tell you those details later. If you just press enter, you can see now what is ongoing in the alert file. So I think it's almost starting the database. So it has almost copied the files, right? Yeah, it's almost has come to the end actually. So starting down and starting the database. So that means yeah, it's almost 84%. No, I did 94%. Right? So it will finish very soon now. This is ongoing activity with the database in the alert file. Inside the parameter file and patch recovery area and those stuff. So those things we have learned in great detail later with the, because we need to learn what is instance. We will be doing those things. Don't worry. In this channel, we are going to present everything theory and practical. So we'll start with the architecture of a database type. So in architecture, we talking about instance architecture, about the memory structures and buffer cache, shell code, regular buffer, and even the background process was happening in very big detail. We're going to do in practical theory, especially the checkpoint commits was going to be, and so parameter file, static parameter file, a lot of details. So and we are going to discuss very detailed table spaces, data files, right? So in the lab file, you can notice those terms, but you may not understand most of them at the moment. So no worries, we'll be discussing all the things in this Oracle portal of Technology Innovation Hub, right? So that is one of the objectives under Oracle portal, right? Right, let it complete, almost 97%, right? So again, let me break this. So we have, other than the alert file, we have the TRC and TRM files, right? Trace mapping and trace files. And you can see the format of the trace file, right? So very important to understand. This is the database name, and this is the TRM actually. If you take a look at the TRC file, you can see the database name underscore what it says is the background process name and the error number, right? So that is how the format of the TRC file. TRM means when we have for a particular trace, when we have series of traces for a particular event or a error, so it's going to create a TRM for trace mapping to get the link of the multiple trace files for the same error, right? So we will discuss those things in greater detail. So TRC, TRM files, right? Yeah, so it is almost 97%. Let it complete, right? Now let's now we are here. Clearly, if you go back, if I want to see the check further more details, right? There are a hell of a lot of things in Oracle database here, right? Till it complete, let's check few more things. So if I want to see the password file and all, right? So there is the sys password and authentication happens. So those are here. So I'm in Aura data, right? Yeah. So we go without going to Aura data, we go product. We go Oracle, so product, we go 12 and we go on DBS. DB home one, DBS folder, right? So in that, if you take a look at, yeah, it's almost done, right? So if you take a look at the OR, you can see now ORA PWD ORCL, that is the sys password where it stores. And this is the server parameter file, right? And we have those things, right? And the init parameter file for the static parameter. So we are working with the server parameter, the dynamic parameter file for database parameters, right? So we will learn on those things in great detail. So no worries. Now this is almost done. We have successfully completed the part one of this installation activity. So as I said, we are going for multi-version install in the same guest operating system, right? So now we have completed the phase one, that is 12C install. So next phase will be 19C installation, right? All right, so I'll meet you there, right? Okay, thanks for watching. Okay, and if you like the video, put a subscribe. So I'll meet you soon. Okay, have a nice day. Bye bye.